Hey, joining us now, Speaker of the House of Delegates in Virginia, is Speaker Bill Howell. Mr. Speaker, great to have you with us, sir.
Thank you, John. Always good to be on your show.
Happy Father's Day month. You got one?
Well, thank you.
We celebrated in our family every day, May 15th to June 15th.
I have to say something to my wife about that.
That's right. You gotta really press it. Now, sir, we got to ask, you've been recovering from hip surgery. How's your health?
Oh, great. It's everybody that I know that's had hip surgery, hip replacement, says they should have done it sooner, and I would agree. It's just it's going very well. I'm very blessed.
All right. Well, that is good news. Mr. Speaker, I've got to get right to Governor McAuliffe and him vetoing the ethics bill, the bill that would ban him from accepting campaign contributions and gifts from companies seeking grant funds from the governor's opportunity fund, sir, that the governor has great subjective discretion in. I mean, this was a common sense ethics reform bill without a doubt. It passed the House 99-0. It passed the Senate 40-0. Now McAuliffe vetoes it. What do you make of this?
It's beyond me. Very disappointing, John. It really is a unfortunate step in the wrong direction. As you said, it passed both houses unanimously, and this is a time when I think it's especially important that elected officials need to be working to restore the public trust. I think it was a terribly bad move.
Well, and the thing that's bothersome to people is the way it was written. Basically, it said that for anybody that is potentially contributing to the governor's campaign or to his political action committee, regardless of who the governor is, Republican or Democrat, if they're contributing and they're seeking a grant through the governor's opportunity fund, that the way the law is written, the governor has great discretion in awarding. I mean, that just makes, I mean, talk about common sense. That's just common sense.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all.
Okay.
If I were going to pick a bill to veto, it would not have been that one.
Now, can that veto get overridden?
No.
Why?
We'll have to bring it back next year. There's a procedure, and I'm not sure why we didn't do it. I guess we just assumed that he would sign it. That we rejected his amendments that he put to the bill. And then there's a procedure where the patron of the bill can ask that it be passed notwithstanding a veto of the governor. And basically what you try and do then is override the governor's veto prematurely. But, and we didn't do that. And whether we would have gotten the 2/3 vote in the Senate or not, I'm not sure. But we'll bring it back next year and take care of it next year.
Well, it's so they knew. So the governor knew the veto couldn't have gotten overwritten. I would have loved to see that going down in a veto session. What the Democrats in the Senate would do, that unanimously backed it, and then obviously they'd get their arms twisted. But the whole thing stinks. You look at what's going on right now with Governor McDonnell and that whole mess. I mean, this was just a common sense piece of legislation that I bet if you asked 1,000 people on the street and explained it to them, all 1,000 would say that makes sense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, John. It is disappointing.
It's just ridiculous. Okay, I want to get to the budget in Virginia, Mr. Speaker. 7:45 here on the John Fredericks Show. We're with Speaker of the House, Bill Howell. I want to get to the budget that we do not have, but even if we had it, which we don't have it, now we find out that in what's been proposed on two sides, there's about a $300 million shortfall. Can you help everybody understand that?
Well, it's certainly not good news, and the $300 million shortfall could be best case scenario. We're going to know the final numbers probably about the middle of June, but this is one more reason why it's so important that we get the budget done now. Many localities have set their budgets based on what they thought they were going to be able to get from the state, and looks like it's going to be significantly less. And so it's just more important than ever that we get the budget done. The economic recovery has not been going as anticipated. This has been the weakest economic recovery since the Great Depression in the 30s, and it continues to plod along. And the revenue that we were anticipating in May from people paying their taxes and their first installments of their 2014 estimates was just way under what we'd anticipated, and we're concerned that not only is it going to carry through this fiscal year that we're in now that ends June 30th, but in the next two budget years as well. So it's more important than ever that we sit down and hammer out this budget, have a clean budget, get the Medicaid expansion language out of it so that we can pass a clean budget, so that the local governments have some certainty with what to anticipate. And also, John, there's a thing about being able to use the rainy day fund. If we don't have our budget done on time, we pass on the ability to use the rainy day fund to close some of these shortfalls. So it's pretty drastic, pretty significant.
Mr. Speaker, what were the primary economic drivers behind the $300 million gap?
Excuse me, shortfall in the individual income tax as well as the corporate income tax. We were anticipating more money coming in for estimated income tax liability in 2014. That first payment would have been due on the 1st of May, and also the people that had taxes due that were filing their returns at the last possible date coming in about the 1st of May was less than we'd anticipated, significantly less.
And that's just a function of economic activity, right,
yes.
sir?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Common Sense News Time, 7:48. This is the John Fredericks Show. We're with Speaker of the House of Delegates of Virginia, Bill Howell. Mr. Speaker, the governor, Terry McAuliffe, has said, look, I don't need no stinking badge. I have broad authority to spend even without a budget. If you don't pass a budget and don't give me Medicaid expansion, I'll just spend the money that I need to spend anyway. Legally, does he have the authority to do that?
Well, we don't think he does. Last week, we had two lawyers from the Division of Legislative Services, which, of course, is a nonpartisan, independent affiliate of the General Assembly, and they went over in pretty good detail a memorandum that then Attorney General Bob McDonnell had written
right
for Senator Tommy Norman, and for me, we asked for it back in 2006 when we were having a budget showdown. And the powers of the governor are really limited. There are some emergency powers. He can probably keep state troopers on the road and keep the prisons closed. But the problem is you can't pay them. The Constitution says very clearly that no money can be spent, not a dollar can be spent that has not been appropriated by the General Assembly. And if we don't have a budget, then no money's been appropriated. And I'm not sure how the governor thinks he gets around that. Chris Jones, chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, wrote him a very detailed letter explaining our position and saying that, asking him to lay out his rationale, why he thinks he can spend money without a budget, but of course he hasn't answered that. It's the bottom line is it's completely unnecessary. This is really uncharted waters. We don't know where we'd be going if we go to July 1st without a budget. It's never been there before, but we can solve the problem today. We can get Medicaid out of the budget. We can get a budget. It's not going to be quite as easy as it would have been a couple of weeks ago,
right?
Because there's going to be some serious cutting involved. But we have to get it done now. I'm very concerned about our AAA bond rating. I think we would lose that if we go into July without a budget and can't make payments. And we just the governor just has to realize that he doesn't have the powers that he thinks he does, and that it's going to be chaos.
So he thinks he does. Obviously, the governor is continued to be brazen in his approach. When you look again at him vetoing an ethics bill that got passed between the House and the Senate. Let's see, 139-0. That's, I would say, as about as bipartisan support for something as you could possibly concoct.
Yep.
Now, what happens, Mr. Speaker, if we go beyond July 1, we don't get this resolved? What happens?
Well, I think a good deal of government does shut down. And it's not going to be like in Washington where you just close the Washington Monument. It's going to be serious effects. People are going to go without pay. People are not going to be working. We have almost 100,000 people that work for the state. It's going to impact all of those families dramatically. And not to mention the money for schools, the money
Right.
for public safety, the money that the state pays to the local governments. It's just, and again, John, the thing that's so critical is it's so unnecessary. We can get a budget in a week and eliminate any of this concern about uncharted waters. I can't imagine Virginia being without a budget, and I can't imagine what it's going to do to our financial ratings, to our AAA bond rating, to best managed state, all of those kind of things that we've grown accustomed to being a beneficiary of.
7:51, we're with House of Delegates Speaker of Virginia, Bill Howell. Mr. Speaker, it's evident to me, I think, that there's going to be no compromise here on Medicaid expansion as it stands right now. So let me ask you this. Politically, the governor and the Democrats are going to attempt to blame the shutdown on Republicans. Nationally, they've been successful with that strategy. In Virginia, they certainly control and are there's major media outlets like WAPO and others and the Virginian Pilot that are very sympathetic to the governor's agenda. So how do Republicans stop the same thing from happening to them that in Virginia that happened to them nationally?
Well, we've done a couple of things, I think, differently than was done in Washington. We've done, I think, a very good job over the past, since March 8th when we adjourned from the regular session, in going to the people in our different districts and saying, here's the situation. The situation is we've got this impasse. It can be fixed. It's easy to do. We've gotten over 100 local government officials to sign letters, resolutions saying that they want the Medicaid expansion language taken out of the budget and get a clean budget. We've been going all over the Commonwealth, and I think the people, they're going to be mad at both parties. There's no question about that. But I don't think it's going to be like the scenario in Washington where the Republicans get 95% of the blame or 100% of the blame. Unfortunately, Governor McAuliffe's experience dates back to the Clinton days when Bill Clinton did a very masterful job of pinning the government shutdown on Newt Gingrich and others, and I think he thinks the same thing will happen here, but I don't believe it is.
Okay, well, we'll see how it plays out. Mr. Speaker, the VA scandal, what do you make of it?
Oh, it's a mess. It really is a mess. I read an interesting column yesterday that points out, though, that's what socialized medicine is. It's government run, government hospitals, government pays for the doctors, government makes all the decisions with the VA, and it's just tragic the way they're treating our veterans. But at the end of the day, it comes down to access, and there simply aren't enough doctors and hospitals to see all of the patients. And Medicaid patients face the same problem. There's
right.
nearly a third of the doctors refuse to see Medicaid patients, so Medicaid patients use the emergency room, and they don't get the quality care they deserve. And the thought of putting 400,000 more people into that system is just mind-boggling. It screams loudly for the proposition that we need to fix the current Medicaid first. We have to reform Medicaid that we have now before we even consider expanding it.
Any movement on Medicaid expansion at all in your mind?
Very little. I think that the Democrats and the governor are playing a very serious game of chicken, and they think that we're going to budge first. But my caucus is resolute. We just really you've heard me say before, John. This is probably the most serious issue that I've seen come before the General Assembly in my 27 years, and we're adamant that it's not the time to expand a broken system by a third and go into a new $2 billion a year entitlement program without considering it more thoroughly. And that's all we're asking. Let's take a look at it in a regular session or a special session, not have it tucked away as a 2-page memorandum in the budget, and let's do this like grown-ups, like we're supposed to do.
Mr. Speaker, have you taken a hard look at the Indiana plan?
I've taken a good look at it, and of course, the biggest problem that I have with the Indiana plan or the Arkansas plan or any of these plans is that it's dependent on this increased money from the federal government forever. And if you don't get it, then the state has to kick in the difference, and the amounts are significant. The Indiana plan is going to ask for waivers like the Arkansas plan tried to get, saying that if at some point the federal government backs off on its commitment to pay 90% of the cost forever,
right,
then they can eliminate the plan. But politically, you're just not going to do that. You're not going to tell 400,000 people that as of July 1st you don't have insurance anymore.
I mean, that's just the biggest issue. Once it's there, it's there. Nobody's ever going to take that away. I've got about a minute and a half, Mr. Speaker. We got the Republican nominating convention coming up in 2 weeks in Roanoke, Virginia. By the way, we're going to be there live on the air the whole time. We thank you also for being there with us. Who is your choice for U.S. Senate nominee, Ed Gillespie or Shaq Hill, and why?
Well, I've known Ed Gillespie for a long time. I'm a strong supporter of Ed. I think he's going to make a great senator. I think that Ed Gillespie's the one man that can run a strong campaign. He'll be well funded, and I think he can beat Mark Warner. I think this is the year.
Okay, that's going to be it. We will see you in Roanoke on June the 7th. We will be broadcasting from Roanoke Live on June the 6th, and the whole convention on June the 7th. Hope to see everybody there with us. We want to thank Speaker Bill Howell for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in Roanoke.